Hi and welcome. Lisa here for Trinity Stamps. Thanks for joining me today. So in this video, I'm sharing a fun spin on the Slimline card. I'll be using the new Slimline Rainbow Builder die set along with the You Lift Me Up stamp and coordinating dies. To get started, I ran that rainbow die through my die cut machine with white cardstock twice. I need 2 full rainbows. I went ahead and I die cut the clouds as well from that set, all 3 of them. So I'm going to go ahead, trace that negative rainbow onto some scrap cardstock, cut it out. I'm making sure to stay on the inside of those trace lines so I don't have to worry about coming back after I build the rainbow on here and trimming any excess off. I want to talk to you a little bit about die cutting rainbows. I went ahead and I die cut mine. Now I use a piece of Post-it tape to hold all of this together before I ever even take it off of the cutting plate. It just makes things easier keeping them in order and also keeping everything together. Now once I have them cut, I go ahead and color those with my Copic markers. Now you could use colored cardstock, but you're going to end up with a lot of rainbow bands left over that you're not going to be able to use in order of the rainbow. You can still use them. I've done it before and it works great, but they just know they're not going to be in order every time. I recommend using white cardstock, color it with your alcohol markers, or you could even watercolor it if you wanted to. Now, once you have all of your bands colored, you can use that same piece of Post-it tape to line all of the bands up. Then we're going to take our white piece of cardstock and we're going to add our adhesive to that. And then we'll build our rainbow directly onto this. Now, because we took the time to line these up on the Post-it note, all we have to do is pick it up and lay it down on this white cardstock and we have our rainbow built. Now, you're going to want to do this one more time and you're going to want to do it to the back side of the rainbow because you're going to be able to see the front and back of the rainbow, so you're going to want that covered up. Okay, these cuties, I went ahead and I stamped on 80-pound smooth cardstock. I also used Memento Tuxedo black ink because I'm using my Copic markers. And what I did was I started with my E33. I went in and mapped out some dark areas, and then E31 to start blending those colors out. Now I go back and forth like I think most of us do a couple of times just to get the look we want. And for my final blend out, I use E30. Now on the center of his little nose, I'm going to use E33. And then on the tip of his nose, I use R01. Now I thought about coloring the balloons, but I decided that I didn't want those to be fighting with the rainbow. So C1 just around the edges of the rainbows, and I'm going to leave those white. We have everything die cut here, and we're going to go ahead and start to assemble. Now you're going to need a 3-inch wide by 9-inch long card base, and you're going to score at 1.5 inches to create your card base. Now I used my T ruler because I needed to make sure that I had perfect placement of the rainbow so that it would slide into the envelope. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. When you go to place your rainbow, you need to make sure you have enough room that it slides freely into that envelope. Mark your lines with your pencil so you know exactly where to go back to once you add adhesive to the back of the rainbow, and then line it back up and then let it dry. Once it's dry, go ahead and we're going to start building our clouds on here. Now I'm going to be using mounting foam right below that rainbow to help support this long cloud that I've cut out here, and some liquid adhesive to hold that to the rainbow. I come in with mounting foam to both sides of that long die cut cloud, and then I also use the mounting foam on the back of the clouds. Now the reason that I put it on the on the side of that long die cut cloud that's already on the card is so that everything is at the same height. Now I did use quite a bit of mounting foam. If you didn't want to do that, you could just glue directly over the rainbow and skip the mounting foam completely, but I like the dimension that it gives. So again, I use liquid adhesive and mounting foam to adhere the the images and the balloons. Now, this is where it's always good to watch somebody else do something. I was going to use those little sentiment strips you see there to the left. I was going to use those, but I changed my mind and I ended up coming in at the last minute and stamping my sentiment. But luckily for me, the mounting foam I use is pretty firm, so stamping on it is pretty easy. But you know ahead of time that if you're going to stamp your sentiment on that die cut cloud, to do it before you add any mounting foam or anything to it, and do it before you start to add it to your card. All right, so some sequins are going to finish off this card. Now, this little tray here is new to Trinity. I absolutely love it. It's big enough to hold your sequins, and you can move them around in there, and the sides of it are high enough that you don't have to worry about them, overflowing on the sides when you're moving them around. And then it's easy just to pour everything right back into whatever you keep your sequins in. So let me know what you guys think about this take on the Slimline card. I actually really like the way that it turned out. I think it's something different and it's something fun. Now, if anybody's wondering, you actually have quite a bit of room on the inside of the card to write a sentiment. There's plenty of room for you to stamp a sentiment. If that's a concern, you still have plenty of room to do all of that. You can see here. Okay, so leave a comment below letting me know what you think of this cutie. And I really hope you enjoyed joining me. I hope you'll click that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified of new content to the channel. Now, for more information about the products, head over to the Trinity Stamps website. Have an amazing day, and thanks for joining me.